Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. It's Tuesday. Which means it's totally Tubular Tuesday with Fata Morgana. Stream. Let me think. Let me think about this recap. Also, let me adjust audio. Alright, I also don't think this stream, I think I've said this in the last, like, 4 or so streams, so maybe it's just the regular. I don't think the recap has to get too wild for the last stream of this. Even though it was, like, 3 hours. It's not like we didn't cover a lot of ground. But we basically saw the end. What's audio doing? Okay. We basically saw the end of the third door with Jacopo. We had Maria. We had the white-haired girl. That whole situation in what seemingly was the most modern era of door time visitation that we've had. We started, I think, the door, or that stream, not the door, but the stream itself. Sorry, I still wasn't happy with our audio was coming in. We started, I think, that stream with Maria and Jacopo talking, and they were doing their whole, like, it was very early on, before full mask off moment, but it was like they're just talking, and she's, like, planting the seeds of distrust and also manipulation, both on Jacopo's part, but also the white-haired girl's part. And then we basically see very quickly into the stream that Maria, like I said, mask off, she's in a room by herself or something, and she's monologuing like she's this villain that she is revealed to be. So my earlier thoughts of like, oh, is Maria like into Jacopo? Or is she into the white-haired girl? Or what is their end goal? We finally see quickly in the last stream that Maria, it's not, the reason isn't fully given at the moment, but basically she is manipulating the two of them for her own end goal, which we're yet to see, I think, at that point. But she's in there, she's, like I said, monologuing like a villain. She's like, this is why I'm doing this thing, this is why I'm so evil, and why I'm being kind of a bitch about everything, like, but I'm not gonna tell them that or all that. So then, remember, white-haired girl trapped in, like, a cabin shack or something because she was banished for dancing and wearing perfume and all that. So her punishment was sent to this cabin or this shack thing. And, her idea is, like, I'm going to send 1 million letters to, 1 million letters to Jacopo to try to express my love to him. And remember, Maria's like, yeah, you should write those letters and I'll deliver, since you can't leave, I'll deliver them to him. And fucking Maria, we learn that she's manipulating the letters. She can't manipulate the body of the letters, but she's like addressing them to random lovers or something. And it's driving Jacopo mad as he keeps getting these letter after letter. Maria is telling the white-haired girl, hey, he's not even reading your letters. And then she's delivering the letters to Jacopo, and he's just getting angry. And so he's being manipulated, but if I'm being 100% honest, he's kind of being hella dumb about the whole thing. Like, honestly, he's really dumb. We see in his head where he's like, oh, what does it mean? How does she love some other person when she's trapped? And this is an experience I showed her, and how is she having that same experience with someone else or something like that? And like, we as the reader are just like, what the fuck is this guy? Like, why is he not putting this together? Like, he must just be that blinded by rage that he is dumb, kind of thing. Like, you know, like, I'm so angry, it's making me dumb kind of like moment. Also, hello. You got Chick-fil-A? It's been forever since I've had Chick-fil-A. And I don't like Dr. Pepper. But I'm also not a big soda person in general at this point in my life. Chick-fil-A is eh. I liked Chick-fil-A back when I was younger, maybe. Anyway, Where was I? So yeah, he's super stupid about this whole thing. And then he basically, at some point, many million letters are going out, and he's like, oh, I'm finishing up a railroad or something, and I'm gonna invite the white-haired girl on a date, because surely she's going to see that she loves me, because he's, like, starting to make the turnaround here at this point, where he's like, oh, I'm so mad, but, like, it doesn't make any sense, and I care about the white-haired girl, I guess, or something. But basically, the date was misinformed to the white-haired girl, or it got moved and it wasn't communicated to the white-haired girl, or there was something, because he was like, oh, I will invite the white-haired girl on the date to the train tracks or whatever being opened up, or the last spike getting driven in or whatever. And she, without him knowing, she was like, I'm gonna have the date of the finishing of the railroad tracks. If he doesn't get back to me, then I truly will, I can't keep going on this path. I will leave, and I will be out of his life if he doesn't reciprocate my love that I'm clearly giving to him through all these millions of letters. Like, how else is he not gonna get to me? So it's like, fucking whatever. And so he, but I forget, like, I don't remember if it was like, oh, the date moved and then he told Maria to tell her, or the date moved and he forgot to tell her the thing or whatever. But whatever, she just gets up and leaves, basically. So then he tries to find her, and he finds that she's left, and I think there was like a note where she was like scrawled, like, I'm fucking leaving and I'm driving myself crazy because I'm writing all these letters and nothing's happening. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on? So then, and then it's basically revealed, skip maybe a little bit, Maria and Jacopo basically have a duel to the death with, like, guns and shit. It's symbolic because it's, like, the ammunition or the gun or something that he had gifted her at some point when they were younger in some of the flashbacks or whatever. And she also reveals why she's doing all of this to Jacopo. And he's like, she shoots him, and she's like, bang! And, you know, like an evil person would, but he doesn't die immediately, because he's like, oh, you should have picked a better spot to shoot me or whatever. And he shoots her in between the eyes, bang! And she goes down. And then basically it's sad, you know, it's like, ah, fuck, if only I wasn't so easily manipulated. And it's like, well, yeah, kind of sucks to suck. So we finish the door. Then we talk to, like, the master, us. Like, we talk to some random person in a painting, like a painting person. Don't really know what's going on there. We get to ask a lot of questions, but basically he gives us no good info, I feel like. He basically says stuff like, I don't know how to answer that. Or like, oh, you should know the answer to that. And he basically tells me I can go fuck myself. So then, before we leave, he's like, wait, you should reach into my painting. You might grab something, don't, you know, who knows, a mystery. And I'm like, okay, I'm reaching into the painting, and we get, like, a key. And then we... and so then we go on an adventure searching through the mansion before we attempt to find, like, the maid, the capital T, capital M, the maid. We see, like, we go through all these rooms that have ties to the other doors that we've done. So the other characters, we see, like, them as, like, shadows. We see, like, visions of the past, and, like, shadow people of the past, tied to the rooms that were parts of the previous 3 door adventures we went on. And then maybe we saw some people that we didn't know yet. I'm kind of unclear, but it is what it is. We used the key on, like, I think it was the master bedroom or something, and we saw, like, a bit more. There was, like, okay, we used the key that we got. Wonder if we could have missed that or not. I don't fucking know. And then we found the maid. And then she's like, oh, we've got the 4th door, and I think it's the final door. So we had to go up some stairs to, like, some shitty door or something. And I think that's where we're at. So basically, we got door 1, which ended in Incest-ageddon, or Incest-palooza. We had door 2, which was death by association with the Beast Man. We had door 3, which was, like, arranged abuse, speed run, any %. And so, what the fuck could be waiting for us behind door number 4? I can only hope it's something exciting. And that's basically the recap. I think that's where we're at. Right before we go into 4. How exciting. How fucking exciting. I should frequently check the text log for door 4, by the way. Spoilers? Question mark. Alright, let me inspect my memories. Look at all these black squares. That's so boring thumbnails for my save slots. Dang. Okay. So, like I said, I think I saved right before we got to literally, like, walking through the door. You know what I mean? You slowly descended into darkness. Also, I don't know if it'll... Oh, literally saved right before the door. I did really good there. 1099? No, we're not... Oh, we're going back, right? Do you know how cool it would be if we went through a door and it was like caveman? I was thinking about this the other day. Do you know how fun that would be? What if we had cavemen? What if we had like, it was like cavemen white-haired girl and like caveman other people, and they commit to the bit. What if they were like unga bunga, and it was like they maybe did a translation, but basically it was just like, and all you had to you had like narration notes, so you would know like actions and stuff, but like you wouldn't maybe they fully commit and don't even know what they're saying to each other. That would be so much fun. You know what I mean? Let me rewrite Fata Morgana, okay? Let me get a hold of that script. Let me write the caveman door, and we'll be fine. Caveman door. Time to start writing my fan fiction. Set on a pot, set it on, and also pour water into it. Gather the pieces thereof into it, even every good piece, the thigh and the shoulder. Fill it with the choice bones. Take the choice of the flock, and burn also the bones under it, and make it boil well, and let them see the bones of it therein. I'm gonna adjust the audio again slightly. Thus saith the Lord, woe to the bloody city, to the pot whose scum is therein, and whose scum is not gone out of it. Bring it out piece by piece, let no lot fall upon it. Where is she? Where did she go? Oh, this feels like straight up, like we're fully leaning into the witch-like moment. She came down this, like, we're going witch hunting, it feels like. That's what I was gonna try to say. This feels like, especially because the word witch got slung around a lot, and if we're going back the earliest, are we like origins of white-haired witch association? White-haired girl witch association, I meant to say. She came down this way, I'm sure of it. Find her! Find her! And burn her! Yeah, this is immediate. Yep, okay. I was so... I mean, it was very obvious. It felt like this is a time period of, like, we're witch hunting. Burn the witch! Burn the witch! Burn the witch, burn the witch, burn the witch! Burn her, 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 burn her. Then will I leave thee upon the land. I will cast thee forth upon the open field. See, now you got me thinking about the fucking text log. If the game doesn't tell me that the text log I should be checking is a thing, then it's on the game. It's on the game. It's not on me. That's all I'm gonna say. Then will I leave thee upon the land. I will cast thee forth upon the open field, and will cause all the fowls of the heaven to remain upon thee. And I will fill the beasts of the whole earth with thee, and I will lay thy flesh upon the mountains, and fill the valleys with thy height. I will also water with thy blood the land wherein thou swimmest, even to the mountains. I guess what I'm saying is now with that kind of knowledge, I feel like if there's something to see somehow in the text log, and it's not obvious to go see it, then I think like, here I go, comparing to Umineko. But you know, like, Umineko would make, like, a sound effect or something when, like, a character bio got, like, updated or got added. And then you'd be like, oh, fine. After a while, you'd go like, oh, the sound effect where the character bio got updated or something got added. I will check that now. If it doesn't do that, then if I miss it, it's on the game. It's not me. Because you gotta think of all the people that are reading this, playing this, and they don't have someone in chat being like, hey, make sure you don't miss this thing. Anyway. I will also water with thy blood the land wherein thou swimmest, even to the mountains, and the rivers shall be full of thee. And when I shall put thee out, I will cover the heaven, and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. All the bright lights of heaven. Or, the opposite, I can pull like a me move, and we go all the way through door 4, under the floorboard. And then we finish it, and then we go scroll through the whole text log of chapter 4 to try to see what the hell is going on. And everyone will have to, I will hold everyone captive, and they'll have to watch as I just scroll through all the text log. All the bright lights of heaven will I make dark over thee, and set darkness upon thy land. I seem to have lost them. Now, where am I? Where should I go from here? What am I to do? Darkness spreads as far as the eye can see. Not a ray of light shines down upon me. All that strokes my cheek are tendrils of darkness. Every passing day, every fading hour, my world is engulfed in ebony. There exists no kindness in the shadow, only solitude. I've lost track of how long I've been on the run, wandering aimlessly, lost until I arrived at this dark forest. I no longer have anywhere to go. Correct me if I'm wrong, but of note, of maybe possible interest, note that this is the first door where we're actually seemingly in the perspective of the white-haired girl. I may be wrong. I'm thinking back on that, but all 3 doors previously, I don't think we ever were from the perspective of the white-haired girl. We were from the perspective of some of the other people, or like Maria, or Jacopo, or Melly, or Nell. But the white-haired girl, I think, was always just a third-person character, I think. I don't know. I don't want to think about it too hard, because I'm dumb. I no longer have anywhere to go. O Father who art in heaven, I kneel to, and what I mean by that is that we're having like we're using, like, we're from the perspective of the white-haired girl, because she's saying like I and stuff, like, you know, first person white-haired girl. Does that make sense? I kneel to thee within my heart and ask of thee thy blessing. O Father who art in heaven, I ask of thee to shine thy light upon me and show me the way. Please have mercy upon my soul. O Father who art in heaven, I do love thee dearly. Hallowed be thy name. Please show me the way. I may be shunned and persecuted, and I may have no place to go, but nevertheless, I am unable to give up on life, to cast aside my hope. Oh, what if the white-haired girl in this door gets to be the evil person? Wouldn't that be fun? O Father who art in heaven, please guide me unto salvation. O Father who art in heaven, please guide me. I can no longer remember when my life became naught but running, when it became endless wandering in the dark. And now, when I've reached the point where I've long since forgotten my hunger and thirst, my voice has become hoarse, my vision gone blurry, and my consciousness begun sinking into the hazy morass. That mansion appears before me, wrapped in a morning fog that seems to foretell rain. Oh, we got hair animation. Oh my. The mansion comes into view like the world fading in after a dream. It doesn't appear as though anyone lives here. All the windows are either boarded up or shuttered, as if it's long since been abandoned. A tower, which seems out of place in a personal residence, stands tall beside the mansion. The whole building seems as though it could disappear with the fog. It has an unwelcoming presence, freezing me in my tracks. However, if this is where you have led me, then I shall follow your guidance. Oh, is this what you're talking about? Now I press the button and now I'm seeing what? The X'd out. I mean, what am I supposed to... What am I supposed to gather from this? Is there some... I mean, I'm trying to... Is it certain letters? I mean, I would be so impressed if there was some like code or something of the certain letters that are staying or getting crossed out, or if there's a reason for that. But I mean, like, I don't have the time to write this down. I don't have the time to try to like parse this. Having nowhere else to go, this mansion is my only salvation, the light that guides my way, and so I must have faith that no matter what I find, whether spirits or wild beasts dwell within these walls, that this is where I will find peace. I felt like singing along there. Is anyone there? I guess it is abandoned. That makes sense. It would be more unusual for someone to be living in a house so deep in the woods, so far from civilization like it's been forgotten in time. I can't imagine anyone spending their days here. I place my hand on the front door. What if I can't get in? I very much doubt I'll find anywhere else to stay wandering around through the woods. If the door doesn't open, then I'll die out here in the forest. I've come to accept much, but I'm not ready to forfeit my life yet. Please open. Bang! The door is heavy, and though it seems to protest my attempts to enter, it still opens much easier than I was expecting. I was worried over nothing. Looking in, I get the strangest impression light is being swallowed up into the mansion's depths. Rather than going inside, it feels as though I'm about to step outside the boundaries of this world. When I close the door, it's so dark I can't even tell where I'm walking. I wonder if the window is open. Though I managed to fumble my way over to a window, it's tightly shuttered, and the shutters are caked with rust. I'm probably not getting it open without a fight. If only I had some source of light. I can't even see my hand waving in front of my face. It feels like the floor will fall out from under me, and I'll sink into eternal darkness if I don't watch my step. Fighting back that fear, I slowly walk forward, tracing the wall with my hand. There's a door at the end of a long corridor, pulled open, and a wisp of bone-chilling air brushes past me. It's too dark to see anything, but I can feel something different present in this area than the rest of the house. Uneasiness grips me. Is anybody here? My voice simply disappears into the void. No response. As I'm pushing forward through the freezing air, for a split second, I spot a shimmer of light. I have a theory that's like an older theory that I had that I almost want to like re-say and revisit slightly. Especially if we're in like an earlier thing. Like we're in an earlier time period. I think there's some relation to the black-haired, the maid, and the white-haired girl. That they're either, like I said, it sounds fucking bizarre, but, like, what if this white-haired girl is the maid that we are familiar with, and then something happens, especially if she's running into the mansion here for the first time or something, and then something happens, something tragic, and then the maid is some kind of witch, and she makes copies of herself through these different eras of herself from the past, and she's like, and then basically is shepherding, like, these different copies of herself to try to, like, fix something or right some wrong. or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, if this is the earliest door and it's white, it's labeled as white-haired girl, and she's like, oh, fucking, I'm a witch, maybe, and I might have some mystical powers, and then something happens here in this door. And then we see the maid shepherd copies of herself to basically, like I said, because they've had conversations where the maid is interested in the white-haired girl and says, what's your name? Do you remember this? Do you remember this? And that would make sense if she was kind of like doing stuff like that. Like a Beatrice thing. Maybe? I was gonna say, classic me, I was gonna say a Kingdom Hearts thing. In Kingdom Hearts in the series, this isn't a spoiler to say, but basically there is time travel in Kingdom Hearts, the series, and the young Xehanort goes through all the, or I guess old Xehanort, but also a young Xehanort, the main bad guy of the trilogy, goes back into different times and shepherds different versions of himself to basically gather them all at one point in time to then concoct a plan, basically. I'm really condensing the thing, but what I wanted to say was like Kingdom Hearts almost in a way. And now it's not exactly the same because Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts had to like get copies of himself at different time periods and stuff, and he needed a certain number, and it was like, I don't think the maid's grand plan is to converge like a bunch of different copies of herself at one singular time period or anything, but I'm saying slightly that it would be like the maid being like, you know, I've clearly she lives her long time. We've had moments where like even Jacopo's like, oh, she just came with the mansion. She, you know, how old could she possibly be? And the answer might be she's like this old, where, like I said, she has some enduring ability where then she, I don't know, through mitosis or something, creates white-haired versions of herself, and maybe her hair goes black, and then she turns into the maid that we know her of, and that's why she would know so much. And I don't know. It was an early theory I said earlier, and I forget exactly what made me think it that time, way earlier in the game, but now I'm rethinking about it because it just feels like that's like something that's going on. Something's happening. There's got to be something between the maid and the different white-haired girls. And that feels like the type of twist that this game would present somehow. I'm maybe reading too much into it, but whatever. As I'm pushing forward through the freezing air, for a split second I spot a shimmer of light. Squinting my eyes, I'm able to make out a large window. Unlike the others, it's not shuttered, but covered by drapes. My chances are slim, I imagine, but if there's even a slight possibility of getting some light in here, it's worth a shot. So I pull open the drapes. Oh, we get so much mileage out of this stained glass window picture. Just like when we would get so much mileage out of the picture of the wolf in Raging Loop. The next moment, faint but colorful light shines down on me. It's a stained glass window. From beyond the glass, I can hear the subtle pitter-patter of rain. I guess it's finally started. The different colors of light blend into a milky white, dim but wondrous. It's gorgeous. Why would someone cover this up? It's beautiful. With a little more light, it'd be... Please do not touch the drapes. Or the windows. Suddenly I hear a voice, and I can sense someone else in the room. The man's voice is emotionless, neither deep nor high. Before long, he comes into view, illuminated by dull orange candlelight. Oh, is it our guy? Is it our candle man? It's our candle man! He's back. It's Mikkel. I'm sorry for coming in uninvited, but, I did announce myself. The man stands there, practically blending in with the darkness. Has he been here or there the whole time? He's staring straight at me. His gaze wavers slightly, but not enough for me to read anything in it. The candle in his hand and the light from the stained glass window are the only illumination in the room, neither of which are particularly bright. As a result, his outline is faint and blurred. Candleman sounds like a Mega Man boss. Yeah, if I didn't know any better, I would have said Candleman is a Mega Man boss. It's got to be. There were so many bosses in the Mega Man series. Candleman. It gives off the impression that he might vanish entirely between blinks. My apologies. I assume the house was abandoned. I suspect you would have preferred it to be abandoned. Not at all. Is this, do you live in this mansion? Yes, I have for a very long time. I thought I had barred the front door, but it would seem I left it open. What brings you here? If you're lost, I'm happy to give you directions. There's a village west of here. Should take you maybe half a day on foot. If you are in need of money, help yourself to some of the furniture. Trade it for food at the village, then make your way to a larger town. Wait, wasn't this line said to the other thing when we took a look into the mirror? This sounds very familiar, this line. Please allow me to stay here. Does he just offer the furniture to sell, like, to everyone? He's offering the furniture to everyone! I thought I was special. Could you repeat that? I cannot go to the village. No, I cannot go anywhere. I am no longer able to freely return to any town. I'm being hunted. You seem rather young to be a sinner. So you have transgressed. I'm neither a thief nor an adulterer. If I bear any sin, then it has been with me since birth. I will do everything I can to stay out of your way. I simply ask that you grant me shelter until it all blows over. If you wish to know any of my transgression, I will tell you. So please, do not throw me out. I see. And do you ask this of me aware of how people refer to this mansion? Pardon? It is said that a witch once lived in this house. And not just any witch, a cursed witch. This house has been tainted by her seething hatred, and all who dwell within it meet their demise. But you live here, don't you? Like her, I too am cursed. Huh? What kind of curse? The one thing I can tell you is that your life is in danger if you get involved with me. Should you approach my curse, I am likely to take your life. You'll kill me? Yes, so you do not belong here. To live with me in this mansion is to sentence yourself to death. No matter what path I choose, I very much doubt I have a future. And if that's the case, then I shall live how I want. I don't care what people say about you, or this mansion. I wish to stay here. You might think I'm rather strange. Oh no, you might think I'm rather strange, but my heart tells me that I must stay here. That I was guided here. And hearing what you have to say only reinforces that. What are you scheming? I'm not scheming anything. I'm simply tired of running. So if your curse is going to kill me, then perhaps that's for the best. At the very least, you won't be hunting me. You won't try to flay me or tear off my arms or rip the flesh from my bones. And that's enough for me. If you have committed no sin, then why do they hunt you so fervently? I am accused of being a witch. Boom, 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 boom. Master. Please, wake up. Return to me. Ah, have you come to, Master? I apologize for sending you through the door without warning. Must have given you quite the scare. But I beg your forgiveness. I heard a terrible screaming from down the stairs and I panicked. You say you saw the white-haired girl? I see. So you made it into the world beyond the door before me. I'm deeply relieved that I was able to take your hand before losing sight of you. I presume you have already grown familiar with the atmosphere of this time period, Master. If you have seen her, as you said, then you should have a basic grasp of the situation. She was a very misfortunate girl in this era, accused of being a witch. abused and persecuted. Sorry, I keep pausing because, like, the music has, like, spoken, like, bits in it that are, like, right in my ear. Startled me for a second. She was a very misfortunate girl in this era, accused of being a witch, abused, and persecuted. Her life was in constant danger. It was, again, her appearance that brought this upon her. That snow-white hair, those ruby-red eyes clearly differentiated her from everyone else. Oh, and I apologize. I neglected to mention that this door is unique. As for what sets it apart, that will be made clear as we proceed, though one difference is in the time period. The tales I have shown you began with that of the beautiful flaxen-haired family, followed by the tale of the bloodthirsty beast, and then the tale of steel and ambition, proceeding in chronological order. However, the door we have just entered takes us to the period now known as the Middle Ages, long, long before the other three tales. I said a sound effect or something? No, the chanting in the music. I can't even tell what it's saying. It's just chanting. Yes, that is correct. This is where it all began. The mansion's curse, the truth of the witch, and your identity. All of this should be made known. Oh, thank God. I'm finally getting some answers. Let's get some answers because the fucking painting. I can't even talk. I stuttered there. I kept trying to flip how I was gonna address this. The man in the painting, or the person in the painting. I was gonna call him Painting Man, and then I was like, well, it might not be a man, it was just a person. The person in the painting couldn't give me any answers. So now, that sounded so funny though. I was like, Painting Man. Okay, the mansion's curse, the truth of the witch, and your identity. All of this should be made known. If, after this tale, you are still unable to reclaim your old self, then there's nothing more I can do. Oh shit, the pressure's on. This door contains the last tale I am able to tell you. So I ask of you, please do not let go of my hand until it is all over. Painting man, paint man paint. Now then, let us begin a beautiful, tragic love story of two solitary souls trapped in a mansion of darkness. In that era, the mansion was a dungeon draped in darkness. After a great deal of time on the run, the white-haired girl found herself at a remote mansion that stood in a dark, overgrown forest. All the windows were either boarded or shuttered, and it was even darker inside the house than out. Not even a ray of moonlight could enter those walls. Only naturally, the white-haired girl had assumed that nobody lived there, but her guess was incorrect. Someone did indeed dwell in the house. It was a young man named Mikkel. Though she could not make out the details of his face in the candlelight, she thought him a very handsome man. However, he proclaimed to her that a witch resided within the mansion, and that he too was cursed. Everyone who got close to him lost their lives. Do you think that what he told her was all nonsense? A lie devised to chase her out of the house? The truth of the matter shall come to light in time. I'm being teased. I'm being teased that there's a bunch of answers we're gonna get. Despite Mikkel's assertions, the white-haired girl decided she would take up residence within the mansion. This era's white-haired girl was younger than the others. She was still in her early teens, young enough to be seen as still a child. But she was neither as self-centered nor irresponsible as you might expect of someone her age. She was very delicate and reserved, and acted with a great deal of modesty and restraint. The accusations of her being a criminal and a sinner were grossly inappropriate. Nevertheless, she was still chased from her home, barely managing to flee to this mansion with her life. Now, the white-haired girl thought it would be rude to simply take up space in the mansion, so she chased down the master, Mikkel, and asked, is there anything I can do to help? I will clean or cook or do anything. Just let me know. I want to repay you for allowing me to stay here. You need not feel indebted to me. The weight of that obligation will only turn into disdain. But I can't just stay here and do nothing. Do whatever you like, as long as you do not enter my room. That is all I ask of you. said emotionlessly, turning away and walking off. Mikhail was not, I believe, spurning her. He was merely disinterested. He did not treat her disrespectfully, nor did he seem averse to her presence. Words simply did not seem to affect him at all. Not only was the mansion a prison for his body was also a prison ensnaring his heart. I should still do whatever I can. But she did not let that get her down. In fact, she might have even interpreted his disinterest as kindness. Though he was a bit standoffish, he did not attempt to cause her harm. He was nothing like the people who had accused her of being a witch and forced her to flee for her life. And she was deeply grateful for that. Thus began their quiet life together. Mikhail, who avoided contact with others, and the white-haired girl, who had taken a great deal of abuse from others. Two people who knew hardly anything about one another, who were too distant to really be said to be living together. Mikhail spent most of his day in his chambers, so they only ever saw each other occasionally, and they hardly ever spoke. Though they stayed in the same house, they both still lived solitary lives. Nonetheless, the white-haired girl wanted to get to know Mikhail better. She wanted to know why he called himself cursed. Why he lived alone in this dark mansion, how many days, how many years he had spent here in solitude. And while she waited for the opportunity, she also started doing things around the house. It's gonna be, I'm telling you, it's gonna be a curse. The curse is gonna manifest as she like turns into like this ageless. Sheila is gonna like unable to be aged, and her hair's gonna turn black, and she's gonna become the person we know as the maid. And then, like I said, she then does some weird shit where she makes other white-haired girl copies or something. That's got to be what this is. I'm calling it. I'm calling my shot from 3/4 court, and I'm sinking this ball in the hoop. I have to be so right about this. This is what it's gonna be. This is what it's gonna be. She's gonna be cursed. Cursed with black hair. She's gonna lose her cool white hair. She's gonna turn black, and she's already doing maid shit. She's out here dusting the bookcases and stuff, you know what I mean? So she's a maid. That's why they call her the maid. She's like, I gotta pay back your kindness. Dusting. I'm calling it. The first project she set out to take care of was cleaning. As the windows were all firmly shut, her only source of light was candles. For whatever reason, there was a great deal of candles stored in the cellar. She wondered where on earth he had acquired so many, but she never found the opportunity to ask him. It was difficult to even see all the dust and cobwebs with only candlelight, and considering the poor airflow through the house, she was afraid her efforts were going to be in vain. Still, she persisted, sweeping and wiping things down, one room at a time. Eventually, she made her way to the library. The dust that had settled there was much heavier than in any other room. With each breath, she had to fight back coughs. It was not a room one would normally be comfortable spending much time in, but the sight of so many bulky volumes lining the shelves sent her heart aflutter with delight. They're books. Incredible. Real books. The white-haired girl had never seen a book before. She had heard people describe them, but that was the first time she had ever seen one for herself. Parchment was a very valuable commodity in that era. It was something monks or scholarly priests made use of, and not a material one could easily acquire without some degree of social rank. Books were not printed with machines but copied by hand. A single volume took an incredible amount of work to create. Even the process of binding was an art. Standing before a shelf, she stared intently at the spines. There's so much dust. Does he not read any of them? Just a peek. Just a tiny little peek, she said, making excuses to the empty room as she reached her hand toward one of the books. The tome that caught her eye was on the upper shelf. It bore gorgeous jade embossing and looked like it belonged in a treasure chest. Almost. Though she tended to act older than her age, the white-haired girl was still in her early teens and not especially tall. Even standing tiptoe, it was still just barely within reach. At long last, her slender fingers made contact with the spine, and she began to pull the book toward her. Ah! The library had sat abandoned for some time, causing the covers to stick together. So when she attempted to pull one out, several others tilted with it. And then almost all the books on the shelf came avalanching down onto her. Ow! I don't know why, but for some reason, all the books and reaching for books and them all I'm weirdly just remembered that scene in fucking Doki Doki Literature Club where one of the girls, I think, is like reaching for books and then they all fall on her or something. I'm trying to remember. It's been years, but I'm like trying to remember. I'm pretty sure that's how that scene happened. The white-haired girl groaned, buried under a mountain of parchment. She hoped she had not damaged any of her host's valuable collection, for the mess was enough of a setback already in her attempt to express her gratitude. Looking around, she saw one volume that was almost torn in half. She did not know whether it was in that condition before, or if it had happened in the fall, but nonetheless, she felt horribly guilty. Sitting there, unable to get back to her feet, tears began welling in her eyes. Then, suddenly, a shadow fell over the dejected girl, took a book in its hand and returned it to the shelf. For a brief moment, the shadow's hand reached hesitantly toward the white-haired girl, then changed course toward another book. It was Mikkel. There was a hint of perplexity in his otherwise emotionless eyes. Perhaps he had heard the noise and come to see what had caused it. I'm sorry, your books, What were you doing? I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to make a mess. I didn't mean to damage such precious books. There's no need to panic. I'm sorry. You make it sound as though I'm admonishing you. What? Did you want to read a book? I do, but that's not what I originally came here to clean. Clean? Yes, I felt guilty simply being idle. I did say you could do as you pleased, but you have no responsibility to clean anything. I just ended up making a bigger mess anyway. You needn't apologize. Okay. If you want to read, help yourself to any of the books. But I don't know how to read. I just thought the cover was pretty, so I wanted to hold it. You're free to use them however you wish. If looking at them is enough for you, by all means. These are all your books, aren't they? They are. That's incredible. You have so many. It must have taken you a long time to acquire them all. 1 per month. What? My family sends me 1 every month. Every month? The white-haired girl turned her gaze back towards the shelf, squinting her eyes and began to count. When she finished, she was in awe. There were in excess of 100 books on the shelves, which meant he had lived there in solitude for many years. She was at a loss for words. Their dull tomes, dreadfully inoffensive and not even interesting enough to waste a few hours with. Decoration is all they're good for. I see. If you can put them to some use, then perhaps my having them won't be entirely meaningless anymore. I'm going to return to my room. Don't feel obligated to clean up. Just a minute. Was there something else? Could you tell me your name? I'll go back to this one last time here. Let me think. You're free to use them however you want, if whatever that looking at them is enough for you by any means. Is there any pattern that's happening with the letters? And the name down here. Ow! I don't know. Could you tell me your name? I just realized I never asked for your name. Not knowing what to call you will make conversation awkward. I want to, though. Wait, did something? Why did it skip over? I didn't hit the button twice, I swear. You don't need my name to. I want to, though. Mikkel. Mikkel? Like the Archangel? The name suits you quite well. It suits me. It does. Although it's difficult to see you in the dark, you seem to be a very handsome man, befitting of your name. I am so handsome. I beg to differ, I mean. Giving me his name is the highest form of mockery. I expect the real Archangel is probably rather annoyed by it. I don't know. I think it's a wonderful name. And you're... No, never mind. Oh, my name. My name is Giselle. Giselle! Please call me Giselle. Is that our first confirmation of name? Giselle. Oh, thank goodness. For what? That I was able to get your name and talk to you for a little bit. We haven't seen much of each other since I first arrived, so I'm glad that I got to hear your voice. So very glad. You gain nothing by speaking to me. You have no responsibility to do so, and there's no need for you to feel joy about it. I'm not pleased out of some sense of responsibility or necessity. It's just depressing, not being able to have a conversation with someone living in the same house. You do not understand me at all. As I said on that first day, my curse will one day kill you. But I'm still alive, aren't I? You are welcome to believe I am lying, or that I'm merely out of my mind. But it will be too late when you realize the truth. I'll be fine, I'm sure. And even if I do die because of your curse, I promise I won't hold a grudge. Could you possibly be keeping away from me out of concern? No, I simply have no interest in interacting with anyone. I'd like to interact with you. If you don't mind, that is. As I told you, you have nothing to gain from that. I have nothing, not even words, to give you. My body is but a shell, even if I were not cursed. My presence would do not but cause you discomfort. I don't think that's true. I don't believe that there's anyone in this world with absolutely nothing. There's plenty inside you. You simply haven't noticed it yet. And not all of it will only cause others pain either. If you truly believe those words, then you are a foolhardy girl. How can you trust someone you only just met? For that matter, how do you not resent everyone? Resent them? I can take a guess as to why people call you a witch, and why you had to flee all the way to this mansion. Your white hair and red eyes, that abnormal, seemingly inhuman appearance drew their condemnation. I can think of any number of reasons they might have started treating you less than human. Perhaps people around you experienced misfortune. Perhaps there was a natural disaster, a famine, plague, some kind of external phenomenon, and you were their scapegoat. Yes, you are by and large correct. Then that would make me as unworthy of your trust as anyone else. I make no claim to having your interests in mind. Goodbye. If you don't mind, could you teach me how to read sometime? Did you listen to anything I said? I listened, yes. I have no intention of idolizing you. I don't expect you to do anything for me, and I don't wish to burden you in any way. I simply wish to be allowed to be at your side. It does not matter to me what kind of person you may be. That is all I want. I apologize for keeping you. Please consider it if it's not too much trouble. As the master of the house, Mikkel, made his way out of the library, he appeared to be slightly rattled. Perhaps the white-haired girl's determination had ignited something in his chained heart, or perhaps it was something else. She stared towards the darkness into which Mikkel had disappeared. Then, she carefully wrapped her arms around the jade-embossed tome, a soft smile spreading across her lips. He's a decent man. I'm sure of it. We're alike, he and I. And thus began to blossom within her a faint sense of fellowship, as someone who also knew solitude. It had been about a week since the white-haired girl had taken up residence in the mansion. Staying in that house deprived of light was, I imagine, a very claustrophobic experience. To anyone blessed enough to have sunlight as a part of their everyday lives, it would have been unbearable. But for her, the mansion, with its prison walls and lack of either illumination or recreation, was one place she could find respite. She and Mikkel continued to be distant, however. He spent most of his time in his chambers, which he had explicitly told the white-haired girl to stay out of, leaving her unable to close that gap. Nonetheless, on the occasions they did cross paths in the hallway, their eyes would meet, if but briefly. It was never for more than a few seconds. Whenever she saw him, she made a point of giving him a little smile. He never said anything, but still, when she had first arrived, he would not have even met her gaze. He seemed to be taking more and more notice of her. One day, the white-haired girl stood in the cellar, a frown on her face. Well, this is troubling. We can't go down to the village, but if we don't do something soon... The cellar was where their food was stored, an assortment of non-perishables and dried foods, smoked meats and cheeses. Her daily meals were taken from the supplies there. However, stockpiles began to grow quite small. Were she not on the run, she could have gone to the village to procure more. Or perhaps, were she a little tougher? Sorry, I thought I was gonna Caesar. Were she a little tougher? I was like off mic there. I was like, she could have captured a wild animal for its meat. Heh, heh. But master, you know a young, delicate thing like her was hardly up to the task of hunting for food. How does he normally get his supplies, I wonder? From there, other questions about Mikkel started rising in her mind. No matter how lifeless he seemed, surely he still had to eat, right? The white-haired girl nodded, then made her way out of the cellar, intending to head for his bedchamber. But on her way there, she spotted him standing by the entrance, staring motionless at the door, lit by a single candle. He appeared to be waiting for something. May I ask you a question? Go on. I was just down in the cellar, and I noticed we were running low on food. Do you normally go down to the village to restock? I haven't been outside in 10 years. Then how do you... What if I told you I don't eat? What? That I am not of this world, and as such, I have no need of sustenance. What would you think of that? I'm not saying it's true, but what would you think of that if I did tell you that? That sounds very, economical. Sounds like you save a lot of money on your grocery trip bill. If you can survive without having to eat, that's one less thing to worry about. If it were possible, I'd like to have that ability too. It would seem trying to frighten you is a waste of time. Was I supposed to be afraid? Never mind. It doesn't matter. You asked about the food in the cellar. It's getting to be about that time. Wait, and you will find out. What are you... It's here. A food delivery. The DoorDash guy is here. He's here to deliver our food. Oh. If you want to know where my supplies come from, open the door. But, I'm in hiding. There's no one at the door anymore. The knock is nothing more than a signal. A signal? Yes, white-haired girl. You now have the option of leaving your order at the doorway so that you don't have to open the door and physically interact with your delivery person. It's hella convenient. The white-haired girl turned toward Mikkel to press him for more information, but he averted his gaze. Find the answer yourself, he seemed to be saying. She took several moments to gather her will, then marched over to the door. So bright. The sunlight, which she had not seen in some time, was so bright it seemed to burn her eyes. Although the sun itself had not gotten any brighter, she had simply spent so much time in the dark, her eyes were no longer accustomed to that much light. The color of her eyes made them quite sensitive to light already, so when she stepped outside, her whole world went bone white. The white-haired girl stood motionless for 10, perhaps 15 seconds, and when her eyes had finally adjusted to the light, what's this? She noticed a crate on the ground at her feet. She turned her head back to ask Mikkel about the box, but the mansion was so dark it appeared to be wholly severed from the outside world. From where she stood, she was unable to distinguish Mikkel from the shadows. A pang of nervousness struck her. She wanted to return to that darkness as quickly as possible. The white-haired girl had come to yearn for that world without light more than the one with. The crate was fairly hefty. Slightly built girl had considerable difficulty bringing it into the house, but eventually she did manage to drag it through the front door. And then everything went dark once more, except for the faint flicker of candlelight floating in the air. You can leave it there. I'll take care of the rest. What's... Without a word, Mikkel approached her in the box, withdrawing a knife that he had evidently kept hidden somewhere on his person. With it, he cut through the rope that bound the box. Go on, open it up. At his insistence, she placed her hand upon the lid. She had no idea what lay inside this unexpected delivery. Whoever had brought it was already long gone. Staring at the strange box, she was racked with nervousness. However, what she found when she pushed aside the lid was completely ordinary food. Is something amusing? It was just rather anticlimactic. Here I was, worried about what might be inside. We were just talking about the supplies in the cellar. So, we were. Completely slipped my mind. This should last us for some time. It's all preserved, just like what's in the cellar. But I don't understand. Who would deliver all this to you? There should be a book in there as well. What? Oh, there is. In the library, he said, that his family sends him one book a month. Does that mean this book came from them? If so, then why did the person who delivered this leave without speaking to him? What happened between him and his family? Is he here because they want him here? Or because he chose to be here? Take the book to the library, please. I will bring the rest of the supplies to the cellar. But it's a big box. I'm sure you could use some help carrying it. That won't be necessary. Take the book and go. But... Fine, then stay here. I'll take care of everything. Dang. Oh, wait, hold on, please. What is it? You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. And, I'm not trying to pry, but I can't help but be curious. Say what you have to say, please. Out with it. I was wondering if you could tell me why you live here, in this mansion. Why did whoever delivered this box leave before you even opened the door? Could you, perhaps, be imprisoned here? I told you this the very first day. I'm cursed. It's only natural for a cursed man to live in a cursed house. Yes, but that's such a vague answer. I don't understand why you're in the situation you are. I don't know how you feel about it. There's so much I don't know. And I'm not even sure if your curse actually exists. I see. That is a perfectly reasonable doubt from your point of view. Having been branded a witch because of your appearance, it would make sense that you would think my curse might be fabricated, or perhaps a metaphor for something else. Alright then. Come with me. What? I'll show you my curse. As he turned on his heels, the white-haired girl caught a glimpse of what appeared to be a smirk on his face, like the whole thing was some kind of sick joke. That smile carved into his mask was far colder than any look of annoyance or rejection. But despite the twinge of nervousness, she still followed after Mikkel. As much as he might have stood out in the crowd, with such height and long hair, his presence was almost entirely eroded away by the darkness. She felt that he could simply fade away into nothingness at any moment. Many things are buried here. Huh? Mice, insects, wild cats and dogs. Have you ever thought it strange how little life there seemed to be around this mansion? You're right. I haven't seen a single creature since I arrived. The only sound you can hear is the wind blowing. And now that you mention it, it did seem peculiar. They were all killed by me. Or rather, they lost their lives because of me. You have your I did it again. You have your answers now. Thanks, Mikhail. A butterfly fluttered its way into the ruined garden, dancing up and down through the air. Mikhail held out a finger before himself, and the butterfly, mistaking it for a branch, drifted down upon it to rest its wings. Had the scene stopped there, it would have been a picturesque moment. All that comes in contact with me loses its life. My skin, the breath I exhale, my flesh and blood, is poison to all life. But the butterfly's movements began to slow. It spread its wings in one last futile attempt to fight gravity, and then, without warning, shriveled up into a dry husk. It's dead, all dried up and lifeless. Like it's been dead for days. It's like his finger drained all the life out of it. Is this his curse? Is that even possible? But I saw it with my own eyes. If this is his curse, though, it explains much. There are more than just insect and animal corpses buried here, too. Servants who came to visit me long ago are here, beneath the ground, under our very feet. That's why his servant leaves before I open the door. Should he touch me, should he get near me, his very life is in danger. No one is interested enough in seeing me to take that risk. No one will have anything to do with me. Nary a soul even wishes to see my face. Now you understand what I meant when I said I would eventually kill you. So that's why you have never once touched me. Easy there. When I knocked the books down in the library, you didn't offer your hand to help me up. And only one of us ever made contact with the box at the entrance at a time. When I offered to help you carry it, you refused. Because you didn't want your finger to accidentally brush against mine. My actions were not of concern. My actions were not out of concern for you. I should have checked. I simply dislike people. Others' interests mean nothing to me. What an odd face you're making. Do you not believe my curse is real? No, I do. It is certainly irrational, inexplicable, unbelievable, but you've shown me more than enough evidence, and I don't believe you're lying to me right now either. In which case, you don't understand how dangerous it is to be near me. You said that if you left, you would be killed, but it's been some time since then. If you're careful to cover your tracks, you could make your escape. You do not belong here. He was telling the truth about being cursed. What a cruel burden to have to bear. Just can't imagine just how much he's given up on, how many lives he's inadvertently taken, and how he must have felt every time it happened. How much pain that loneliness must have given him, how much despair he must carry in his heart, how much sorrow must be weighing down on him. So no, I will not leave. I will stay here with you. Leave this place. No, I will not. Why? Why do you insist upon remaining in this house after learning what I can do? You have no reason to stay. Tell me then, why do you try to drive me out? If you don't care for others, as you say, if you're not concerned about anyone else, then what does it matter what I do? What does it matter if I die to your curse? You're a very kind-hearted man. You've been watching out for me since the day I arrived, doing whatever you can to not inadvertently kill me, to not afflict me with your curse. No. Here's what I think. No one capable of showing genuine care for others can honestly, truly dislike all people. They can't possibly be indifferent. No, That day we met before the stained glass window, you heard me out. You listened to my plight. You didn't try to chase me out. That day, I thought you to be a good person, and I still believe that. I simply assumed you would leave on your own when it was safe. I never thought you would be so foolish as to want to stay in a house like this with a man like me. How does that make me foolish? Do you not value your life? Are you not afraid of death? Do you not find me unpleasant? The thing I fear most is loneliness.
You're probably right that by now I could safely sneak away, get myself somewhere far from here. But even if I did, I would inevitably find myself in the same situation. The only way I can avoid that fate is to stay away from everyone. To live in solitude, with no one to talk to. I know you understand how that feels. It terrifies me. I'm afraid of having to spend day after day with no one to talk to, no one to share my experiences, my thoughts, my feelings with. If that's what awaits me out there, then I want to live with you. I want you to be an essential part of my life. Impossible. Please, don't chase me out. You are a cruel girl. Never again will I allow myself to get close to someone, only to watch them die. Never again. My mother was the first to die. It happened shortly after my birth. Next was my wet nurse. 2 deaths could be considered a coincidence, but as the number rose, it became clear that I was cursed. And I was forbidden from making contact with anyone, even at home. Regardless, being in the same house, accidents will happen. Numerous people lost their lives. Attendants unfamiliar with me, or those who simply brushed up against me by mistake. I couldn't take it any longer. So you chose to move here? To this remote mansion to keep yourself away from your family? You weren't imprisoned here. You elected to live alone so you wouldn't hurt anyone. For better or for worse, I was born into a noble house. So rather than abandon me, they provided me with the means to live out of sight. I'll be very careful. I will do everything I can to ensure no accidents occur, to keep you from being alone again. I will not, for any reason, touch you. You have my promise. Your curse takes the life of anything you touch. I've been here for a while and death has not befallen me yet. As long as I do not touch you, there shouldn't be a problem. Also, I apologize if this is simply me reading too much into things, but I feel like we're 2 of a kind. I fear being utterly alone more than anything, and I think you understand just how scary that is. So, why are you so stubbornly insistent on it being me? I'm sure there's someone else out there, someone you're meant to be with. You may not have found them yet, but I believe someone like you eventually will. Because unlike me, you still have the vigor to press forward. It has to be you, I'm certain of it. Why? Because, well, you can't tell me? No, I can, just please don't get upset with me. I think, I might really, really love you.
You said it too early, white-haired girl. You confessed your love too early. His was a power that evoked images of witches or demons, the unclean and the impure. A mere touch was all it took for him to strip man and beast alike of its life. God has quite a cruel streak to bestow such a power upon such a beautiful young man. And a strange power it was indeed, like something out of a fairy tale. Like something confined to words upon the page, it seemed otherworldly, unbelievable. Nonetheless, as he had demonstrated to the white-haired girl, his peculiar powers were indeed real. That said, the world has its fair share of oddities. Just so happens that those curiosities tend to remain hidden away, known only to a few. Heh, heh. Although, you have laid eyes upon a number of unusual phenomena yourself, Master. The doors to the past through which we have passed. The doors to the past through which we have passed. This very mansion, and, as a matter of fact, the 2 of us. Now, as you just saw, the white-haired girl found herself enraptured with this man and his accursed power. How do you think Mikhail acted in response to her proclamation? He had spent so long refusing to interact with others, no, unable to interact with them. As such, he was unsure how to respond. After standing there expressionless for a few moments, he muttered, "I'll consider it." Damn. Just what you want to hear when you muster the courage to say I love you to someone. A half-hearted "I'll consider it" is what you want to hear. And with that, he returned to his chambers. I mean, it's better than I know. While he was not someone who wore his heart on his sleeve, I personally do not believe he was completely devoid of emotions. Devoid, I should say. He had simply forgotten how to express them in his extended solitude. So I think he was, in that moment, in a state of complete panic. She had, after all, just assaulted him with a stream of incomprehensible declarations. That, knowing the truth, she still wished to remain in the mansion. And that, knowing the truth, she loved him. The love she had declared for Mikkel was not a fleeting puppy love. There was genuine tenderness and warmth to her words. But he had gone through his life shunned, feared, pushed away. To him, that was normal. He had never given anyone reason to have any fondness for him. So he found himself utterly unsure how to take the affection she was showing. Of course, he was not the only one rattled by the whole affair. Oh dear. Several days had passed since Mikkel had asked for time to think. He had still yet to show himself again. This is all my fault. The white-haired girl paced anxiously through the halls on the off chance she might run into him. As per his request, though, she kept her distance from his chambers. Nevertheless, she was beginning to worry about the fact that he had secluded himself away for so long, so she worked up her courage and made her way to his room. What if he doesn't want to see me ever again? I didn't consider I might be overstepping my bounds before opening my mouth. Every step she took was slow and laborious. Her mind raced with worry and doubt. I should at least tell him I'm sorry. Rather than out of a desire to know how he felt, she was compelled by guilt and a desire to apologize. After walking for some time, she arrived at a door sitting in an utterly unlit hallway. She drew in a breath of musty air, then let it out, repeating the process several times. Next, she reached her hand up to knock on the door, then pulled it back, also doing this a number of times. Oh, how adorable she was. I wanted nothing more than to give her a little nudge. After all, she was too sweet a girl for her worries to be anything but misplaced. I just can't find the courage. Maybe I should come back another day. But what's the point of waiting? I need to apologize and get the weight off his back now. She gathered her courage once more, this time determined she would do it. The white-haired girl moved her small fist towards the door, which then swung open. I'm sorry. Please, you must announce your presence. I almost walked right into you. Are you in that much of a hurry for a mishap? I'm sorry. And I believe I told you to stay away from my chambers. You did, so I spent a long time debating whether I would, but I decided I really wanted to tell you this. Oh, well, actually, I'm truly sorry. What? The other day, I could barely manage to get the words in my head all the way to my mouth. There was no room in my mind for anything else. I shoved my own thoughts and feelings into your face, not considering that that might not be what you wanted, just running non-stop, not thinking at all. I was terribly disrespectful to you, completely selfish. You're a kind-hearted man. I truly believe that. But you were only being courteous because you're a nice man. I'm sure you have little interest in the affections of a queer little girl. So, I would love it if I could stay here. It would be a wonderful blessing. But if you really don't want me here, if my feelings are imposing upon you, then I apologize. I'm sorry, and I'll take my leave of this house. I'm sorry. Don't be. My mind went blank for a moment. What? I find it difficult to comprehend you. The other day, you were firm in your intentions to stay. Now you say you'll leave without a struggle. You holed up in your room for so long that I thought, you didn't want me around. To be honest, I want to stay here. I do. I think you should do whatever pleases you. Huh? You can stay, or you can leave. I will not pressure you to do one or the other. So, I'm not imposing? To tell you the truth, I had to think about that for some time. However, I've now come to something of a solution. Since you're here, come into my room. What? But I thought I wasn't allowed to. To prevent what almost happened a few moments ago, so we don't accidentally run into each other. Sorry. You're forgiven. Now come in.
Okay. Is this a necklace? If that's what it looks like to you, then I suppose that means I succeeded. Pick it up. It has a little bell.
Oh, it's like,
It's adorable.
is it like those like collars you would put on like a cat or something to track its movements? Know where it's at.
Please make an effort to wear that while you're in the house. Because it's so dark, there always exists the risk that we might accidentally bump into one another. So I tried to come up with a way to reduce that risk. Does that mean you didn't leave your room because you were working on this? That's right. What other reason would I have? I think most people would assume it was because they had put you in a bad mood, or that you didn't want to see them. I have little sense of how most people see the world. Sorry. I appreciate it though. I'm really glad to know that you put so much thought into a life together with me. It'd be difficult not to, after the other day. I'm so happy right now. Can't think of any better word to describe it. I couldn't be happier.
Do we have an age check on Mikkel? How old is Mikkel supposed to be? I mean, I can't tell based on his sprite or anything, but we clearly got a description that the white-haired girl here is young. A young man, the maid said. Hi. All right. You're being dramatic. To tell you the truth, I feel a little bad about it.
Why?
It seems rather impertinent to affix a bell to someone. You're not livestock. You're a person. Yeah, the early teens thing is, yeah, the thing that I remember. Okay. I'm just wondering.
You're a person, he says. That's why you turned it into a necklace? Thank you very much. I'll keep it on me at all times. I really, truly appreciate it, Lord Mikkel.
Don't call me Lord, please.
Alright then, I'll just call you Mikkel. And will you please call me Giselle?
The windows.
What?
If we could open the windows.
Never mind. I was just thinking you wouldn't need the bell at all if we could get some light in here. They can't be opened?
They're rusted shut. All the windows have been shuttered for as long as I've been here.
I had assumed you had boarded them all up.
That was done long before I ever arrived. After so many years here, though, I hardly consider it an inconvenience anymore. It also serves to repel wanderers.
Oh, really?
Is there something odd about that?
No. It's just, I realized I had the wrong impression about a number of things. As I learn more, I see things in a different light. See you in a different light. And I'm sure there's still plenty more for me to learn.
Of all the people I've ever met, you are perhaps the most difficult to predict. Not only do you have no aversion to the darkness,
The dark has always been a close friend of mine. Which isn't to say I dislike the sun. Its lights can simply be a bit too strong for me. I'm like some kind of unholy monster that can't be exposed to sunlight.
You are anything but unholy. My name would suit you. Much better than me.
What is with that sound effect?
Can it stop?
That day, when I first saw Giselle, I was wary of her, apprehensive. I didn't want her anywhere near me. But, as my doubts about her faded, I began feeling something very different. As though the lump in my heart had been melted away. I began to yearn. I yearned. for her to be at my side. Knowing full well it couldn't possibly last. Knowing full well how foolish it was. I found myself captivated by her. I found myself wishing to have her stay with me. What the fuck? What was that all about? That's strange. That was so, like, that was so not, what's the word I'm looking for? That was so, like, not, like, with the style of everything else. You know, it was so, like, felt like so out of place. I don't know. There's some term or word I'm looking for. Oh, wait. Anyway. And that marked the true beginning of their quiet days together in the dark mansion. They acknowledged and accepted each other's presence, no longer isolating themselves, but actively, regularly conversing. Disconjointed? No, it was something else. There's some other... Oh well, it's whatever. As mundane as it might seem, it was something they had been unable to attain until then. Nevertheless, they were still somewhat fumbling around in the dark with one another, drawing closer and pushing away again. Mikkel, in his own ungraceful way, was beginning to open himself up to the things she said, and the white-haired girl was beginning to smile with greater frequency. I'll probably remember the word, as soon as I, like, end the stream. I'm knowing my luck. They had taken to dining together, and her wish of learning to read was being granted. He taught her in the feeble light of a candle placed upon the table, the two sitting across one another. Though Mikkel seemed to be well educated, he had not been instructed in the art of teaching, so he found the process quite grueling. But to the white-haired girl, the longer it took, the better. Her primary objective was, after all, to spend time with him. The days passed, and eventually she reached the point where her comprehension was adequate enough without assistance. Her next request, then, was for them to read through the book together. Have you read every book in the library? No, I stopped looking at them after a while. Most everything I'm sent is dull, uninformative dreck. The Diary of a Lord. Foolish make-believe tales. You're not fond of fiction, I take it. What value is there in the lies and fantasies of another? Stories can be invigorating. Tales of adventure can take you places you could never go. Legends of heroes, folklore, stories of otherworldly phenomena. They can be terrifying, and they can be exhilarating. They may not be real, but they give you a little glimpse into the author's heart. Let you feel like you're seeing the same thing they saw. You are a very empathetic girl. Fiction inspires nothing of the sort in me. However, perhaps long ago, it may have been able to, though I can no longer remember what it feels like. I'm sure it'll come back to you. You're not an empty man. Sorry, I'm making you uncomfortable again. How about we read this book today? It appears to be a collection of legends. You haven't read this one yet, then? That's good to hear. It'll be more enjoyable if it's a new experience for the both of us. It looks like it's a record of local legends. The book is divided into several sections, though it appears to be mostly superstitions. I am curious what kind of stories this area has. The two of them were looking down at a simple, undecorated volume. As the white-haired girl had said, it seemed to be a collection of local legends passed down generation to generation. They sat across from one another at the table, her turning the pages, and Mikkel simply watching so as to not brush against her. Eventually, her eyes were drawn to a particular word on one of the pages, bringing her hands to a stop. The witch. That chapter detailed the story of a witch, or more precisely, said witch's curse. The story went something like this. Ooh, story time. There once was a witch skilled in the dark arts. She lived a meager but peaceful life alongside the other villagers. But then, a long drought struck the village, which the people blamed on the witch. The witch was sentenced to death, and as the fire blazed around her, smoke rose high into the air. The smoke soon became rain clouds, blessing the village with an end to the drought. The crops were revitalized, and the villagers fancied themselves heroes. However, the rain also brought madness upon the people. Though the earth below them was lush and fertile, the villagers were losing their minds, and they eventually began to take each other's lives. The witch still lived on, in the form of a curse. Many fell victim to the witch's curse. Though it did not only take, it also fulfilled people's desires. The villagers had gone mad, but their wish for freedom from the drought had been granted. Thus, the legend has been passed down as follows. The witch will grant your wish in exchange for great sacrifice. As smoke in the sky, she watches down upon us from above. To reach the witch, climb for the heavens, but know that road is a road to destruction.
Boo, bad story.
People still believe the witch's legend even now, I suppose. And that's why I
face accusations of being a witch. This is not an area very welcoming to outsiders, especially one who stands out as much as you. What brought you to this region in the first place?
Mine is a story I'm sure you've heard before. I was cast out of my house. I come from a very poor family, could barely even afford to keep everyone fed. Being as weak as I am, it was only natural that I'd be the first to go.
I see.
What I don't understand, though, is why the witch said to grant people's wishes. That is to say, she had reason enough to hold a grudge, but not to give people things they asked for.
All we have to go on is a few pages. There's no saying what might have been changed or added over time. It's almost certain the entire legend isn't written here. That said, if we are to accept everything as written, you can infer what the witch's reason might have been.
And that is?
If you truly want it that much, you can have it, but I'll make certain your suffering outweighs it. Despair that comes after a moment of happiness is far more agonizing than despair alone. I presume that is why the witch decided to grant people's wishes.
That is one way to look at it. May I ask you something?
Go on.
When I first arrived here, you told me that a cursed witch used to live in this mansion. After reading this legend, I'm now finding it hard to believe you made that up simply to scare me away.
I appreciated the tale, I appropriated the tale, nothing more. It is said the witch was born in this house.
What?
Quite the place my family found for me, but it was a clever decision putting me here, I think. Not many people are likely to come near a house with such a pedigree.
But... No, never mind. That makes sense.
I suspect I know what she was going to say then. If the witch is said to grant wishes, then wouldn't that also attract people who so desperately want something? They do not care what price they must pay. And perhaps she was correct. Perhaps there had been those who had come to the mansion chasing after the legend, and perhaps they had encountered Mikkel, touched him, and lost their lives. On that day in the garden, he had said, "Many things are buried here." Perhaps that included such visitors.
I wonder if that story might be more than mere superstition.
If the witch of legend really did exist, what would you do?
Might be nice to talk to her, maybe.
That's all? Really?
I feel a little bad for her, though. The only people who ever visit her are there to ask for something. After all, I can only imagine just how lonely that must be.
I swear, I cannot comprehend the way your mind works.
Sorry.
Although, if we assume the legend is true, I have an idea what climb for the heavens might mean.
Oh?
The mansion has an observation tower. Or, I suppose, what used to be an observation tower. At any rate, it is quite a tall structure. This is the house where the witch was supposedly born. A tower reaching for the heavens seems like the perfect place to find her, if she really is here.
Oh, yes, I remember seeing a rather tall structure as I first approached the mansion.
Would you like to see it?
Of course. Please, lead the way.
The two of them left the library and made their way to the room with the stained glass window. At the far end of that room were the stairs to the observation tower. The tale of the witch had piqued the white-haired girl's interest, inspiring her to put herself forward to satisfy that curiosity. She had, after all, been accused of being a witch herself,
so she undoubtedly felt an affinity to the legend. What a sweet girl she was. Walk, 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 walk. With Mikkel in the lead, the two climbed a long, long spiral staircase. There were many more stairs than the white-haired girl had anticipated, and she soon found herself short of breath. If Mikkel's in the lead, I don't know why I thought about it, but could you imagine if he accidentally, like, slipped on a stair and, like, tumbled backwards? And then, like, she had to, like, not, like, have him, almost like a boulder rolling down a hill, like, if she got touched by him because of that, then she would die because of the curse or whatever. Like, if he took a misstep and, like, fell backwards, she'd have to be like, ah, God. Sounds like it would be annoying to have to live with this man. always on your toes. I don't know why that vision is in my head. Him falling down the stairs. She soon found herself short of breath. Rectangular windows were carved out of the stone in regular intervals. Peering through one of them, she could see a village in the distance. A pleasantly cool, high-altitude breeze brushed across her face. After much climbing, they finally arrived at the top, where a door made of partially rotted wood stood. Floorboard on the floor. Michael pulled open the door, revealing a small room with no windows or doors in sight. Oh, it's this background. This is the top of the tower? Despite it being called an observation tower, you could hardly observe anything from there. Her face contorted in confusion, the white-haired girl threw her gaze about the room. Glancing up, she only saw a darkened ceiling, and, slightly below it, a single small window through which shone a little ray of light. The beam cleaved through the darkness like the sharpened blade of a beautiful sword. The darkness draped over the rest of the room only served to make more impressive that solitary ray of light. It had a magical, fairy tale quality to it. As if being pulled in by it, she drew toward the light. I suspect there was once a large window in this room. If you look closely, you can see seams in the stone of the wall. The color of the stone differs slightly on either side of the seams. I presume something caused them to seal off the window after it was built. Though I don't know what that something might be. Look at that pale skin. When Mikkel's eyes fell upon the white-haired girl wrapped in that beam of light, he sputtered to a stop. The man who never flinched at anything, who had long since distanced himself from such stirrings of the heart, was utterly bewitched. He had never seen her illuminated so vividly before, and he was having a great deal of trouble finding the words to describe her striking beauty. For someone who had been chased out of her home and accused of being a witch, the white-haired girl looked less like a practitioner of the dark arts, and more like one of the hosts of heaven. And more like one, yeah, I read that right. More like one of the hosts of heaven. One thing I find interesting is the game, even though she had said her name was Giselle, seemingly, the game still refers to her constantly both in, like, as the white-haired girl, both in the text and for her, like, speech boxes. And I would assume in the past, whenever there's been a character that has not yet been named, it would always be a whatever, like a placeholder, and then it would get updated once we actually learn their name, I'm pretty sure. So I'm trying to think, is that just because the game knows and the story knows that we've been referring to these versions of white-haired girls as the white-haired girls and it just sticks so much more after all this time? Or is there a deeper reason why it has not been replaced now with what she had said her name was? That's something that's been in my head now for like the last several minutes. Thought I'd say that out on the video and make sure that that's where I'm like constantly like, why have we not updated? Thematically, it would make sense to just keep it because, like I said, I would get it if it was like, well, we've been calling a white-haired girl for so long that then to switch now would maybe be weird. But I don't know. Maybe it's something. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's nothing. Mikkel undoubtedly felt the same way, for his gaze was fixed firmly upon her. Oh, look at that smile. Dazzling, isn't it? Like a staircase leading to heaven. Yes, perhaps so.
Oh, smile gone.
Is something the matter?
No, I'm fine.
Oh, it's back.
She's going through the wide range of emotions.
You know, it feels like there's something odd in the air here. It feels like someone actually might be listening.
If the witch were to speak to you, what would you say to her?
I would ask her to tell me her true feelings, to tell me what kind of person she was, and what kind of pain she had to endure. I just want to know what she felt. This woman people branded a witch.
The legend was written from a neutral perspective. It's possible she was a fearsome witch. It's also possible she wasn't.
I get the feeling she was just persecuted like me. Like me and you.
Unlike you, I truly am impure. Disagree all you want, but my touch kills. I'm a strange, incomprehensible, irrational creature. Or maybe I'm not even a living being. And that's why when I touch something that is, I bring them death.
If only I actually were a witch. If only I actually had some kind of extraordinary power. Regardless of whether it came from God or the devil.
Oh yeah, dude, make a deal with the devil. Become a witch person. That'll end well. Do it.
Devil powers. Then I would be able to grant people's wishes.
My wish need not be granted.
But it's what I want to. I wish to be able to touch you.
So fucking wrong.
I would be perfectly content with nothing changing, with us never being able to touch one another.
And before anyone says anything, all right, before anyone hears this or doesn't say anything, or they're like, oh, get over it, it's the Middle Ages, it's a fucking, you know, we're in the 1000s of year time period. They were doing nasty things to each other, irregardless of age difference and everything back then. It doesn't matter, Austin. Doesn't matter. I'm allowed to have my opinions, okay, people? All right? I can still read it in a modern context and be like, ah, shit, man. There's a reason it's a faux pas, to say the least, current day now, right? If we could have retroactively applied the stigma to it from years and years in the past, hundreds of years in the past, we would, okay? We should. Through the power of hindsight. Okay.
I'd be perfectly content with nothing changing, with us never being able to touch one another. I'd be more than happy with that. But I'm allowed to dream, aren't I? It doesn't have to be in this life.
I'm telling you, she's gonna touch him. She's gonna touch him, and then her hair's gonna turn black. She's gonna turn into the maid. I feel it so... Ooh, if I'm wrong, then smite me, God. But please, I'm probably right. I'm like 50% chance I'm 100% correct. To be fair, young man could mean anything from like late teens to late 20s. Sure. But I look at the sprite of the man, and I know I'm inferring some kind of age from like a sprite, which is hard to do. But I'm just saying, he gives off an air of I am on the older side, and I don't mean old like ancient, ancient man. I'm not saying a ancient man, but I'm saying like she's early teens and he is not. So I get the feeling he is not early teens, and that's enough for me. I'm getting over it. I'm getting over it mentally. I would just like the record for me to show, you know? that I do not consent to this. I pray the day will come that we can get closer, even if it has to happen in another life. Happiness is very much a stranger to me, but am I allowed to dream too? You are. I will never touch you, I swear it. But I would like to dream about it. Oh man, this is romance right here. I would like to imagine placing my hand upon your cheek. You can. Reach your hand out for me. Don't do it. Don't do it. For multiple reasons, don't do it. Oh, you're doing it. Don't do it. Back that hand up. Leave space for God's hand. Don't do it. She's gonna like jerk her head. He just holds it. He hovers his hand over her face, like near her face like that, and she's just gonna like jerk her head right at him. She's gonna go like, yeah, gotcha. I will imagine it too. I am imagining your fingers running through my hair, brushing up against my skin. I can feel your warmth. Don't do it. There was a wall between them, a wall they could not cross, for if they did, it would mean the white-haired girl's death. No matter how much they yearned for it, they could not touch one another, so they did so within the confines of their imagination, envisioning it in as much detail as they could manage. It was sad but sweet, a moment of pristine, untainted beauty. The two of them emanated serenity. As fitting as the word cursed might have been to the mansion as a whole, at the top of the observation tower, a pure bond was being shared. A fleeting moment between a young man with a cursed touch and a kind-hearted, beautiful girl. The dream did not last long, no, for God is quite cruel. They simply wanted to be together, that was all. Their wish was hardly unreasonable. Only a quiet, peaceful life together. But misfortune was creeping ever nearer. Its footsteps growing more and more pronounced. Oh my god, we're teasing. Oh, and I apologize on such a cliffhanger, but we're gonna have to end there for the night. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. We do have to end there. We're not gonna do a super long stream today. But as it always is, the cliffhangers are great because then you get to ever so anxiously await the next stream, which will be Friday, Fata Friday, Fata Morgana Friday. It's like, you know, that, you know, people are like, oh, it's something is releasing in something. I don't have to kill myself. You can just hold on to it. Oh man, another Austin bubmanXIV stream of Fata Morgana will happen on Friday. I can delay killing myself. Sorry. It's a meme. It's an inner meme. I'm not literally talking about it. Tomorrow, I think the plan is gonna be some more Xenoblade Chronicles. We got to an interesting part there in Xenoblade, so that'll be tomorrow, and then obviously, of course, no stream on Thursday as I'm doing other stuff. So that is the plan. Is that 8? Yeah, this is 7 streams. Yeah, this is our 7th stream. I was wondering, yeah, I wrote day 7. So yeah, that'll be the rest of the week, and then the weekend will be surely busy for sure on the stream wise. But yeah, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in the weird things that were happening. It wasn't staticky screen, but it was like that was weird. I'm very curious about that. I wonder if there's something, I don't want to say meta happening, but a plot happening over the plot of what we're reading and what that all means. I'm curious. I'm very curious what's going on. I get to think about it for a couple days until the next time. Interesting. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching, though. As always, thanks for hanging out. It's fun. It's been fun. Again, apologies we don't do multi-hour things, but there's a reason why I started this stream quite early this evening and not going super late. So apologies for that. It was never going to be able to do super long, but I'm glad I almost got to like 2 hours or so. So close. Not exactly, but close. So thanks for watching. As always, have a nice rest of your night. Stay safe, stay well. We'll be back tomorrow. Xenoblade. Until then, bye.